What's up, everybody? Joseph Lewin here. Today we're going to be talking about the Woodland Water Table. Over 20,000 of you have followed me because of the short I did about this project. We're going to be diving a little deeper into the behind the scenes for this project. And I'm going to address some of the most common questions, and I'm going to talk through what I would do differently if I was starting over on this project. The most common question that I got is, why did you burn the log? The reason for burning the log is that it really reduces moss and mildew buildup and keeps bugs from eating the wood. So you can see here, this log was originally done a year ago, and there is no moss, no mildew buildup, no bugs on the entire piece of wood. Now, there was one spot right here that had a mushroom and one little tiny spot of mildew, and all I'd have to do is burn that a little bit more. In comparison, I did not burn this log because I really liked the bark and the way that that looked, but you can see, man, this thing's already been eaten out a ton. It's already getting a little bit weak here on the edges. If you look here, this bark just pulls off. This is the fall now, so there's not as many bugs, but in the spring, the bugs are just going to town eating this. You can already see this is breaking down here super quickly. And this was actually cut months and months after that other log. So the first thing I would do differently if I wanted this to be a more permanent project, I would have burned this log here. So I did seal this with rubber spray to hold water. And next time what I'm going to do is I'm just going to sand it super well, and I'm going to burn the inside. I think it might hold up a little bit better that way. Anyway, now one thing that I would do different next time is, this kind of ended up looking ugly with the silicone and the PVC pipe and all of that I put through there. So if I was to do this project again, probably would try to figure something else out. Now, the goal of this water table really isn't for this to be a permanent fixture. I have a 3-year-old. She likes getting out and playing in the water. I imagine that this is going to last 2 or 3 years, and then I can take these logs, remove the PVC, throw them in the woods, they'll decay, turn into dirt, and we'll put something else in the same spot. If I wanted to make this a permanent project, one thing that I would do that I did get comments on is I would, and probably should have, burned the bottom of these support logs before I put them in the ground. That definitely would have made them last significantly longer. Those will rot out within a couple of years, but at the end of the day, I really don't want to sink concrete in here, and I'm not seeing this as a permanent project. So get a couple years use out of it and then use this spot for something different. One of the most common comments was, man, why would you cut down trees? Are you even planting trees or anything like that? So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to show you the tree that I did not cut down for this project. But there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to managing a forest or managing trees. Sometimes trees need to come down. They're unhealthy, and you need to cut them down so that you can make room for other trees that are going to grow. Especially a lot of times you have younger trees that are starting to encroach on your bigger trees that you want to preserve, or you have an older dying tree that you need to cut down so that the younger trees can grow. And so managing a forest actually helps to preserve the older trees and keep them from having to be cut down. So just because somebody's cutting a tree down doesn't mean that they don't care about nature or they're not looking to plant trees. I love trees, and I especially love big old trees, and there needs to be a really good reason to be cutting down one of these big old trees in my woods. Before I show you the tree that the bowl of the water table came from, I want to address another really common comment that I got. And that's, the girls will play with this for 5 minutes and then they'll get bored. And there's a couple really important things to talk about with that comment. And I think it goes to much deeper issues in our culture that we can make videos on in the future. But the first part is, if your kids get bored after playing outside for 5 minutes, that's because they don't know how to be bored long enough to figure out how to play. It's a huge advantage to homeschooling, is that my kids have so much more time to explore the outdoors, so much more time to figure out what's going on. It is a huge reason that we homeschool, is so that our kids have time to be bored and to figure out how to play. And maybe one day this will change, but for now we have no video games in our house at all. Our kids do not play video games. And the reason that that's important to me is because when I've seen my kids play video games and when I see their friends play video games, they have a lot less interest in being outside. When the choice is to have all these things flashing on the screen and hold your attention all the time, why would you be outside? But when you don't have video games as an option and you turn off the screens and the kids are released outside, they figure out how to play, and they figure out how to play for a long time. The second thing that's really important to address with that comment is it doesn't matter if the kids only play with this for 5 minutes and I took a long time to build it. They remember. Kids remember when we take time to do things for them. And so even if they get bored with it quickly and they only play with it for a little while, they're going to remember it for a long time. They're going to have memories of me making things with them, me making things for them. It's a core memory that they will have forever. And so even if they only get a little bit of playtime and it doesn't anywhere match how much time it took me to build it, it was completely worth every second because they're going to remember it forever. All right, this is the tree that the Woodland Water Table was cut from, and this tree died of natural causes. This is a huge, beautiful tree, and if you look up at the top there, you can see that this tree fell of its own accord. As you can see, the stump rotted out and the tree fell on its own. So rather than let this log just rot here and go back into the ground, I used it to make a toy for my kids that they'll have fun with and isn't made of plastic. I'm incredibly humbled that over 20,000 people have chosen to subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be making more projects out of logs and making cool things with and for my kids so that we can spend time together outside. Hope that this channel inspires you to get outside, to build things with your hands, and spend quality time with your kids. We got a couple really cool projects coming up here soon. Leave me a comment and let me know what you think we should make next, and follow along for future projects like the Woodland Water Table. With that, thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.